All right, welcome to VOP this morning. I'm Moses Humphrey, and of course, with me is Esther Nwachukwu. Now, after the face-off with prison officials, DSS rearrests the suspended governor of Central Bank, Godwin Emefiele, despite bail. Plus, factional chairman of the Labour Party, Lamidi Apapa, asks court to compel the Inspector General of Police to evict Julius Abure from the Labour Party's National Secretariat. Now, these are the two issues that will occupy our interest this morning. In the meantime, you may like to click, we would actually like you to click subscribe to our page on YouTube. It's Voice of the People TV. And on other social media platforms, it is at voptvlive. Now, first off, as always, we'll start off with looking at stories that made it to the cover pages of some newspapers. And I have with me VOP in-house analyst Cyril Abaku. Good morning to you, Cyril.
Good morning, Moses.
All right, so let's dive into what the headlines have for us this morning. And of course, our focus for the program today, one of the stories we are sharing made it to all the dailies. That's Emefiele and the DSS. Now, the Nigerian Tribune has it as Emefiele knocks for DSS. Prison officials over scuffle for custody. Judge grants 20 million naira bail. DSS rearrests him. Falano, Ogunye, Ezekwesili, Showore, others react. Now, when you go on top of that story, you have CBN raises interest rates to 18.75%. And on top of the nameplate, you have halt proposed electricity hike. Senate tells FG. Frowns on estimated billing. ASU loses as court affirms Konwa. NAMDA as trade unions. I have no grudge against Olubadan. Ladoja. Now, when you go further down, you see some pictorial there, and then you have flooding on Young Dam being closely monitored, NEMA. Extortion increasing along Lagos Ports access roads. NPA raises alarm. Protest in Ire Polytechnic over removal of rector. A protest in Ire Polytechnic over removal of rector. Angry senators push Oshomole to apologize over looting allegation. And there you have the pictorial that has officials of the DSS and the high-ranking official of the Nigerian Correctional Center. Basically, the official of the Correctional Center being dragged and, you know, clothes torn, everything. This is very embarrassing, Cyril.
Well, that's how you want to put it. But I don't think it was embarrassing to those who were behind or who orchestrated the shame show of yesterday. Okay? First of all, well, like we always ask, is the president aware that this happened yesterday? Did he endorse or give his blessings to what the DSS did at the court yesterday? When Justice Nicholas Owebo spoke, he did, in fact, you know, it was clear. Remand him at a correctional facility, which is the normal thing. A judge cannot hand the suspect over to the DSS. It's not done anywhere in the world. A judge cannot hand first of all, the credibility of the DSS as prosecutor in this matter is even ought to be called into question. Mm-hmm. But that they even took him to court in the first instance. Okay, when they say remand him to correct, when police prosecutes, they know that they take the person back to their cell. Remand him in prison, remand him in whatever, and the DSS now went and fought to take custody back of a man that the court have pronounced should be granted bail. It now means, I mean, for anybody who didn't know what was going on, we now know that this man is not being prosecuted; he is being persecuted.
Apparently.
And they need to know that.
Okay, since it's one of the stories we're sharing, looking at this morning, let's not delve too much into it.
It's fine.
Let's look at the story about ASU losing as a court affirms Konwa and NAMDA as trade unions.
Well, these things will always happen.
These unions came up when ASU was
Of course,
strike and all
they
that.
didn't come up.
They were formed.
No, they were propped up. When we have to be mindful how we use the verb, transitive and intransitive. They didn't come up on their own. Somebody came them up. If there's a word, if you can help me to, if you allowed.
You have coined.
Yeah, somebody came them up. So somebody came them
quite
up.
The coinage.
And this only goes to, and I mean beyond the laughter, this only goes to buttress how low we have come, how badly we have fallen. In the Babangida days, it was the NBA, Alawa Kabashorun, it was the NBA. Before then, the enemy was also very viable forces that fought government to a standstill. You had ASU, you had the Nigerian Labour Congress. When these people spoke, you know that something was about to happen. Today, they've all been weakened. When I mean they've all atrophied. They have all virtually atrophied. When last did you see what did you hear the NBA say about the elections or even about this fuel price increase? Nothing. What did the NMA say? Nothing. What is the ASU? Even ASU as a body. What I heard them say yesterday was that it was not that it was not a step that was taken in wisdom or so. That was how they put their. But that was a very weak protest. They've said nothing. They've done nothing. Even the COE union didn't tell federal government to reverse. They said our members should now work only 2 times a week. You know what I mean? You do your own, I do my own. Make God no vex. That normally they would have said ASU, government must reverse it or we'll go on strike. You don't hear that anymore. Now ASU appears to be the last bastion. Okay? My personal concern is, cannot these labor issues be dealt with or be addressed? I believe they can be. I'm tempted to make the boast that somebody can be president, okay? One can be president and make sure that no strike really happens. All these strikes are clearly avoidable things. As a matter of fact, none of these unions have any current issues with the current government. All of these are backlogs.
Of course.
I'm not sure if it's in this paper, but there's even a story about NAD now beginning a strike today. The point is this. When the current Speaker of the House of Reps, as we know him, is a loyalist to Femi Gbajabiamila, who used to be part of the government interface between the unions and government. I'm even wondering what is the work of the Speaker engaging unions when the legislature has no direct business with unions. The people who have issues with the union are actually the executive arm of government. Why is it that as soon as government came on board, they didn't go to the people and say, okay, ASU, we have issues to discuss with ASU, NAD and so on, and call them in for discussions as early as possible to say, okay, guys, we understand what the issues are, we are willing to deal with them, just give us some time. Nobody does that. They will wait until when an ultimatum has expired, they now say, no, it's all a joke. Now, see, Moses, to be very fair, sometimes you see that a court has said something, they will say what the court said amounted to judgment and not justice. Sometimes people say this court injunction is a black market injunction. So sometimes when the court say they are doing this, and I honestly don't know because the reality of the fact that people have the right to form unions. Is that not so? They have the right to embark on industrial action. They have the right to embark on all these things. But
how will this now impact on the struggle of ASU? Because apparently it will seem like government will favor a union.
No, of course.
As against the other.
No, it's not just favor, sir. Please, let me come in. It's not favor. They will use one union to check the other. That's what this thing. That's what this whole thing is about. It is because as a society we lack common basic values. That's the problem. We lack common basic. Why are you in the ring with a fellow boxer, and just minutes before the fight, he hears that his house has been burned down? Why? I thought the contest was meant to be in the ring. Why should he on the eve of the fight, his wife and children have been kidnapped? Why? It's because we lack values. We lack values, quite frankly speaking. Why don't we engage ASU on the matters they are raising? The matters they are raising, is it for them? Is it not for Nigerian education? Look at, our parents are stranded because of dollar issues of student overseas. Why can't we fix up our universities? Because the fact is this, the same system that produces the best doctors in the world, that the whole world is after our doctors, can also produce the best lawyers, can produce the best technicians, the best. But the problem is that we are not doing as much as we should do. And quite frankly, if you ask me, I don't fault ASU in any way. Sincerely speaking, I don't. The things ASU is fighting for are for the better. ASU chairman will come and go, members will come and go, they will die, okay? But whatever they fight for is for the universities. And since 2009, federal government entered into an agreement with ASU. Nothing has been done about these things. It's not fair. You pay a professor 400,000 naira, then pay a lawmaker, senator, who does not, whose SSC was forged, close to 40 million naira every month. Why won't this professor become an intellectual almajiri? A wanderer.
Why won't the young ones try to forge their results?
Their results also because they know that the future is not in education. And yet we are not alarmed. We think that Mesoma's case belongs to Salute. It doesn't belong to Salute, it belongs to all of us. It's a collective mess. I honestly want, look, education matters. And that is the biggest investment you can ever make. That is why in places like Egypt and some other countries, they will tell that it is the ministry, they blend education and science as one ministry. And that's what we ought to be doing, because the future is in education. First of all, what kind of education do we even want as a country? Nobody talks about that. We've been practicing the same education that was meant to create job seekers for the colonial government back in the day. We've not retailored our philosophy of education to look at how can Nigeria now matter to the world in the 21st century. Nobody even talks about that. Our education today cannot even drive innovation. I have friends and former classmates who are now lecturing overseas. They'll tell you that, look, Moses, if I begin to speak here about Nigerian education, you will not be happy, because it may look like I'm attacking some of the people that even taught me in the past. But it's true. A Nigerian professor that has never published in any of the leading journals in the world, tier 1 journal, tier 2 journal, tier 3 journal, is like your professor publishes in when you score A, B, C, D, E, your professor has never published in any journal that is even ranked. How should we be happy? Should we be happy? Why won't you fund education?
All right,
what they want to do now is to withdraw more money from education. Parents should be the ones paying it. Come on, these are the others of the World Bank. So they are recognizing Konwan. The question is, what do those people stand for? What do they stand for?
We'll have to wait to find out then.
But come on.
It seems like something we'll wait to find out. All right, let's look at the Punch newspaper now. Banner headline here: Nigerians demand reforms as Tinubu submits ministerial list. Technocrats set to dominate list. Tinubu sought prayers to make right choice. Senate leader. NBA tasks appointees on security. APC elders fume over Jonathan's move to pick Bayelsa candidates. All right, and then on top of the nameplates we have CBN vows to tackle forex pressure, raises lending rate. Discos to return $1.2 billion for 374 projects, says NDPHC. Threats to Kogi, Bayelsa, Imo polls disturbing. INEC. All right, and then we go further down. We have Emefiele, lawyers condemn DSS. Warders clash as family protests rearrest. Resident doctors begin indefinite strike today. Yes, it made it to the daily at least. Lagos Okada riders accuse policemen of extortion. Now, we always talk about how stories are aligned in the papers, how it goes to show the interest, either the interest of the editors or the interest of Nigeria. The resident doctor's story is at the bottom corner. Bottom corner of the cover page, just somewhere down there.
You can
a
imagine
little
that.
caption. So it just goes to show that it's not something that we are really worried about. This is just informing the public.
The yeah, I like the word you used. Inform the public that this has happened.
This has happened.
You see, but again, sometimes I hold back from blaming the editors wholesale. The reality is how often even the reader gets tired of reading it. This NAD, soon they may now look like the victims. They may now look like the problem itself. Like people say, I should then two go on strike. But it is not true. It is not true. What do you expect them to do? You won't pay them. You will owe them. You will not provide the working conditions that they need to be, to be at their best. There are some hospitals that work normally just comes to a halt because in a week 6 doctors have jackpot. 7 doctors have jackpot. This is the resident doctors program where you come in to train for like 6 years to become a consultant. I can go and check the ratio. For the past 10 years, you'll be amazed that out of 100% of doctors who enroll for the program, 70 of them leave before the end of it. Even among 70 that leave, the 80 that remain, of that, the 30 that remain, of that 30, 20 again will jackpot later to go and still do that same program overseas. What is the problem?
All right, let's take another. Let's just touch on the last one here. Adamu Omishore met Tinubu for reconciliation, APC chieftain. You want to respond to that?
Well, it is the politics of the APC.
Okay.
Clearly, the president has a way of, the juggernaut that he is. He always has a way of bulldozing his way through these things. So now they're the ones who are going to make peace with the president. Of course, you don't expect the president to come and make peace with you, do you?
All right, then. Thank you very much, Cyril Abaku, for coming on the program today.
My pleasure.
Up next on VOP this morning, it's much ado about an unexpected arrest. Now, the suspended governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Godwin Emefiele, gets rearrested after initially being released on bail. Well, details when we return.